All right, good afternoon. We'd like to welcome you to the 96 School District 52 Board of Trustees meeting. We'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order at this time. And at this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Charlotte Fortner to come and give us our invocation for tonight. Please stand. Amen. Thank you. Mr. Reynolds, will you lead us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, at this time, I'd like to get an affirmation of our agenda.
I make a motion we approve the agenda as written.
There's a motion, there's a second. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, you've got your November 14th, 2023 minutes in front of you. I need a motion and a second to approve those.
Motion to approve the minutes is printed.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I second it.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Do we have any board comments at this time? There's one announcement I'd like to make on, I work for Self Regional, and we're actually having a free food distribution this Friday at the 96 Elementary School from 9:30 till our boxes run out, which will probably be about 11 o'clock. So I just want to inform you guys, if you want to inform your students of that as well. Okay, at this time, we do have one request for public participation tonight. Just a couple of announcements that we need to make before we let them come and participate. Just be sure that you're refraining from words or statements in which, from their usual construction or common acceptance, are insults toward or tend to breach the peace or incite violence. Refrain from obscenities, vulgar language, or any breach of respect. And there is a 5-minute limit for any comment by the individual. So at this time, Mr. Coley Harder, you may come.
Don't be nervous.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm a nervous wreck, man. What you mean, don't be nervous? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm Coley Harder. A lot of people in here know me. If you don't, I grew up here. I'm 47 years old. I've been in 96 my whole life. And what I got going on is right outside of town, about three miles outside of town, I have built a rodeo arena. And I'm just trying to get it out for the kids to have somewhere to go. You know, all kids don't play football. All kids don't play baseball, soccer. You know, I mean, my kids didn't. My kids rode bulls, rode steers, rode sheep, wrestled around with goats and stuff like that. I mean, and we've been attending a rodeo up in Pickens for the last 6 years, and it just changes kids' life completely. And you know, and I want to do that here because I've been here my whole life, and there, you know, y'all know there ain't a whole lot to do in 96, you know, but you know, keep these kids out of trouble. You know, I've got a 14-year-old boy at my house right now. He's from Pickens. He's a troubled kid. Both parents is in prison. There was 5 siblings. Of course, if we could take all of them, we would. But I've been working with him for almost 2 years, and I get messages from his family all the time how it has changed their whole family's life, not just his, but the whole family. And, you know, man, I know there's kids here like that in 96 in Greenwood. and we just want to give them a place to go. I mean, I know maybe y'all seen it on the board in '96, the Cohen Ranch rodeo event, and I'm not here to promote a rodeo. I mean, you know, so y'all know social media does that well enough. I'm trying to promote a rodeo arena for kids somewhere to go, and we have a lot of our own livestock. We have, I actually teach. It's called shoot dog, and it's steer wrestling. I teach. I got Clemson students. Clemson has a rodeo team, and I teach their shoot doggers. Up in Pickens, I have 66 students, and they range from 12 years old to 39 years old. You know, so I mean, it's life changing for kids, and I mean, it changed my life. Like I said, they know me. I mean, I wasn't the best person in the world, but I mean, it changed my life, and it changes kids' lives every day. And I know the high school rodeo association. I don't know if '96 if they do it anymore. I don't hear of anybody doing it anymore. But you know, I think they couldn't do it because they didn't have nowhere to go. The arenas that they had to go to were hours away, and because I know quite a few kids that was from '96 that attended the high school rodeos, and they had to quit because they had nowhere to practice. Well, I just want to give them a place to practice, just like the park and rec. You know, no different from a baseball field or a football field. You know, we have a rodeo arena. We have y'all have a student, Cheney Gunner. That's right. She's a barrel racer. She runs barrel. She practices at our arena, and you know she goes to the foothills, and you know at some point you know I would like to have a group of my own kids that you know Cohen Ranch could sponsor, and we take these kids to the rodeos and let them compete and let them win buckles and let them win money. And it's a lot of responsibility behind it too, because just like Grayson, he's with us now. He wants to ride a horse. He's never ridden a horse. Well, there's a lot of responsibilities come for that. You have to brush them. You have to feed them. You know, you don't just get on a horse and ride it. And we teach all of that, you know, step by step. We just don't put them on a horse and say, here, go. It's just going to be a really good place for kids to be. You know, I mean, I don't know what else to say, but you know, I know I sent you a flyer, and you know, and I really wasn't thinking, you know, I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to promote rodeos, you know, to make money or nothing like that. We don't even need no money. I mean, the arena's built. We just want to see the kids out there running around, playing, having a good time, learning responsibility, learning how these animals work. And I mean, it's really good for the kids. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank y'all for
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for that information. Okay, at this time, we'd like to do our Heart of the Wildcat recipients. Ms. Weeks?
Good evening. At 96 Primary School, each month we have our faculty and staff nominate and vote on a Teacher of the Month and a Staff Member of the Month. For the month of December, our Teacher of the Month is Miss Laura Owings. Ms. Owings came in having to fill big shoes as our former guidance counselor left, having 35 years of experience as a guidance counselor in our district. Ms. Owings has not skipped a beat. She's jumped right in and has not stopped since she started with us over the summer. Her ability to continue with what is working at 96 Primary School while also adding so much good for us has been a blessing. She spends the majority of her days making sure our students are taken care of and are thriving. Our staff describes her as hardworking, innovative, positive, caring, and a true advocate for all of our students. She's always there to lend a helping hand and assist where needed. She does so much extra for our school without any recognition, and we are so grateful that she is ours. And I also want to add, and I'll put her on the spot, but December was such a good month to nominate her because she has been over our Christmas for our children. And how many families have we been able to serve?
Think about 65 of our students are going to be served.
And that's by Miss Owings getting with our community members, our businesses, our families, and making sure that 65 or a little more than 65 of our students at 96 Primary School receive a Christmas. So congratulations to Miss Owings.
Thank you.
Oh, here, Miss Owens. Our staff member of the month is Miss Natalie Bailey. Miss Bailey is our guidance secretary for 96 Primary School. Even though this is her title, she lends a helping hand wherever we need her each and every day. This is Miss Bailey's first year at 96 Primary School, and before coming to us, she spent 20 plus years in the banking industry. So going from a bank to a primary school, I'm sure it was a big difference. Although this is a very big change, Miss Bailey has come in and learned everything she needed plus more in such a short amount of time. I've been amazed at how quickly she's picked up on all of our routines and procedures. Our staff describes Miss Bailey as organized, hardworking, dependable, and diligent. She's always seeking to help where needed, which is one of the many things that make her such a wonderful addition at 96 Primary School. Thank you so much.
Good evening. At 96 Elementary, we have adopted life traits that coincide with the profile of a South Carolina graduate. Each month, we recognize students and staff members who exhibit life traits that set our school up for success. Our life traits this month were problem solving and serving others. Our teacher of the month was Miss Goff. Miss Goff is not here tonight, but I want to read what I wrote about her. Miss Goff was selected as our teacher of the month. She is the interventionist at our school. Ms. Goff is an excellent problem solver and goes above and beyond to help others whenever needed. She has been a guiding force on our fourth grade hall, serving as a lead teacher while the regular teacher was out. Students love Ms. Goff. She is such a positive person and will do anything to make our school shine and others shine. We are so glad she is part of our team. So I will give this to Ms. Goff. And then our support staff of the month, Miss Debbie Kiss. Come on up, Miss Kiss. All right. Miss Kiss, of course, was selected as our support staff of the month. Miss Kiss is our school secretary. She is truly the voice of 96 Elementary School. When you enter our building, I can guarantee that you will always be greeted with a smile. Miss Kiss has a way of making everyone feel special and welcome. She goes the extra mile to help others solve problems, even if that means getting behind in her own duties. She is a good listener and offers the best advice to our students, our staff, and even her stubborn boss. Being a school secretary can be challenging, and you have to be able to wear many hats and juggle a lot. But I can assure you that Miss Kiss does it with ease. She keeps our school running smoothly and efficiently. Thank you, Ms. Kiss, for your service you provide to our school, and because of your actions, our school shines brighter each and every day.
Teacher of the month at Edgewood Middle School is not able to be here tonight. That is Austin Pay. Mr. Pay came to us a few years ago. Really, it was a godsend. We had a teacher that decided to retire after July. He just happened to be going through. He put in through his application, and literally I was at my computer when his application came through. He said he submitted it and he received a phone call within 30 seconds. He has been great for us. He has held down the 7th grade science for us since he's been there. With a new change in standards. He's been instrumental in making sure that the right things are being taught, the right grades for that. With the help of Jennifer Madden, he has also helped start the esports team, gaming club that we have at Greenwood as well. He's just a very bright, positive person to have on campus. Anybody that meets him, he's really just the nicest guy that we have. So that is the Edgewood Teacher Month is Austin Payne.
Thank you.
All right, each month we have the students and staff vote on the Support Employee of the Month. This month, Miss Hannah Williams, she is our custodian. Our day porter is what we refer to her as, our day porter. She's not here right now. She's been sick the last few days. She's expecting a child, so she's having some stuff related to that. So, you know, so she does a great job. She's always there when we call her. We've really been pleased with her work this year. We're happy she's with us. Our Teacher of the Month is Coach Roy Lemons. He is our one of our PE strength and conditioning coaches. He's also our wrestling coach as well as coaching football. He is not here because I'm really hoping they're whooping up on Dixie and Crescent tonight. So that's why he's not here. But he does a great job. The kids love him. Builds relationships with his kids and really motivates. He teaches strength and conditioning in PE, but when I'm talking to my teachers, he's one that I refer to as, if you want to see someone who can actually teach their content, go see Coach Lemons, because he can teach weightlifting like nobody else. He does a great job. He doesn't do some of the other school things like we would like him to do, hand things in on time, you know, stuff like that, but he is great for the kids. He is great for the kids. So Coach Roy Lemons.
Yes, sir, thank you. In your packet tonight, there are field trips and professional leave requests and fundraiser requests. You have 2 overnight requests, one from Mr. Lemons, and then the other is a separate from your packet that came in today from Miss Loudon, and that is a trip to Myrtle Beach for the Beta Club, and I believe that's our first time to do that, to take a group at the elementary level. We have done it with middle school, so we're excited about that opportunity.
All right, guys, you've got that in front of you. We can approve both of these at the same time if that's okay with you guys. So I'll need a motion and a second to approve these 2 trips.
Make a motion to approve.
There's a motion, a second on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's been approved.
All right, thank you. Also, there's a parenting report for your review. Is there any questions about that? I believe that's on 29. Okay, any questions? All right, thank you. That's all I have for the evening.
Okay, thank you. Lieutenant Budrow, we ready for your safety report.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson, Dr. Taylor, and members of the board. In front of you, you should have the, I call it the December report, but it's really the November report. From the 1st to the 30th, primary school had 1. It was a property check that was conducted after school hours by the local police department. Elementary school had 2. That was a property check and a 911 hang-up, which turned out to be nothing. I think it was a missed dial that happened. Edgewood Middle had 2, property check and information report. High school had 2, property check and a assisted motorist. Alternative 0, transportation 0, baseball field property 0, stadium property had 1, it was a property check. District office had 0, which give you a total of 8, which is down 9 from 17 this time last month, and it's down 1 from 9 this time last year. Drills and training, we had November 2nd, elementary school had active intruder / lockdown drill, which went great. On the 9th, primary school had a fire drill. 13th and 16th, we had makeup craze training for anybody who wasn't there for the original training date. We had two makeup training dates for that. Just got everybody through that. The 20th, I'm just gonna say the complex, the middle school, high school had fire drill. 21st, primary school had their active intruder drill, which was good. 27th, had the state fire reinspection, and which was the state, the local fire marshal comes back and sees if we've corrected everything, which we did, and he passed us on that. The 29th, the raid K9 came through the complex. I believe two students were searched, nothing was found. One at the high school, one at the middle school. The 30th, the elementary school had their fire drill. Some safety updates: traffic equipment that had been purchased for the elementary school was received for their dismissal. Sergeant Jacob Deason, the SRO over there, installed the equipment in the way that him and Ms. Loudon discussed. Police jurisdiction signs were purchased and will be installed in the coming weeks. We can get with David and his guys on that. I believe they're already here. These signs will allow law enforcement to enforce certain town ordinances and state laws that they would have not been otherwise to be able to enforce on private property. I told you about the raid K9 alerting on one student in the high school, one student in the middle school. Those searches were done by administrators, resulted in nothing found. Cameras are up and running at the primary school. I'm pretty sure Ms. Weeks is happy about that one. Right now, all 4 schools have surveillance cameras, district-wide total of 216, with more to be added to the new sports complex when it's done. I'm not sure how many of those are, but there will be some there. And that's it. Do we have any questions?
Thank you, sir.
I thank y'all.
Thank you. Mr. Andrew Mackey, Finance.
I'm going to turn it over to our guests here. We have Josh Garvin and Jonathan Meredith with Manley Garvin. They're going to present our 2023 audit report.
Thank you, Andrew, and appreciate Dr. Taylor and the board for having us here. Last time I was here, the podium faced that way, so this is a bit different, but happy to be back, needless to say. So as you know, we are Manley Garvin. We are a firm, an accounting firm in Greenwood that services local school districts. We are happy to be back to conduct the audit for 96 school district for the year ended June 30, 2023, and are pleased to present our report tonight. Andrew and you guys are well versed on the finances of the district, and so getting really deep into the details of information that was as of June 30, 2023 is not my objective, because that information is a bit stale at this point, but I do want to talk at least about the audit process and the overall results of that. We completed our audit, issued the report November 30th, 2023, which is right in line with the State Department of Education requirements. We issued an unmodified opinion. An unmodified opinion is just the way that they require us to say a clean opinion. That is the highest level of opinion that you can receive from your external auditors. In front of you should have 3 documents. One, the bound audit report. This is basically all of the financial statements, the note disclosures, the supplemental schedules, and everything. We're not going to dive too deep into that. The second thing that you have is a stapled report with our letterhead in big bold. And then the third and final thing is another stapled report of about 3 pages, which is where I'll spend most of my time this evening. I do want to be mindful of your time, but I want to be as comprehensive as you guys need to be. So if we've got questions or concerns, feel free to jump in. I've already mentioned we've issued a clean opinion dated that November 30th, where we spend most of our time in these settings is talking about the general fund. As you are probably aware, for the year ended June 30, 2023, the general fund balance increased just over $1 million. I know you guys have subsequent to that have made some decisions as to what to do with that, as transferring some money to fund some capital project initiatives. And so I understand, again, this information is a bit stale, but that's how we ended. Ending with an increase in fund balance in your general fund of about $1 million is a tremendous achievement. And so it speaks to the testament of the work that you guys are doing. The budget and actual on the second page of that, with the general fund, you can see where you kind of how things lined up. You were actually had a positive variance on your revenues, both local and state, and then you also had a positive variance on the expenditures. So not only are you doing a good job of maximizing revenues where applicable, you're also doing a good job of managing and budgeting to the expenditure line items that you have there. So what you'll see is, again, that net change in fund balance, about 3/4 of the way down. That's just a fancy way of saying your net income for the year, $1,064,346. You'll see that there's the fund balance at the very bottom there is $9.553 million at the end of the fiscal year, June 30, which brings me to the third page, where we really like to spend some time. This provides a trend analysis of the general fund over the course of 2016 through 2023. And so where we like to bring your attention is that the GFOA, the Government Finance Officers Association, recommends a minimum fund balance of 2 months of operating expenditures into your fund balance. You can see on that very bottom line, you can see your trend has been going up over the course of from 2016 to 2023 to where you had just over 8 months of operating expenditures in fund balance. A super healthy place to be. Obviously, subsequent to that, you guys have transferred some of that out. I still think you're well within those fund balance guidelines. So very, very comfortable place to be from an external auditor standpoint. The other thing that we're required to do as part of our audit process is, because you guys are subject to the Single Audit Act, you expend more than $750,000 worth of federal expenditures or federal dollars during the year, you're subject to a single audit. Basically what that means is we, as your external auditors, have to come in and randomly select programs, federal programs, to test to make sure that you are in compliance with the grant agreements and the regulations that go over those. They make us cycle those programs in and out. You guys had just over right at $4.2 million worth of federal expenditures, and the program we tested, which is probably not a surprise to anybody, was some of the COVID money. That's a large portion of your money. From a federal standpoint, good news is we didn't find anything that we were concerned about with respect to how that money was received, expended with respect to the compliance requirements that are applicable to that program. And then finally, we come in and so we got a clean opinion on the financial statements. You've got a clean opinion on your single audit. The third and final thing that we have to opine on is your internal control over financial reporting. You say, Josh, what does that mean? That means that we have to come in and gain an understanding of your internal control policies that are in place, and then as we conduct the audit, make sure that what you say is happening is actually what's happening. And so with respect to that, we didn't have any major concerns there. So 3 for 3 on clean opinions with respect to that. Within this other report, this is the board report. This is, if I were sitting in your position, this is the first place I would start. It's a plain English version of the audit process. It talks about our responsibilities as your external auditors and your responsibilities as board members. It talks about the idea that we do not audit every single transaction, that these financial statements are materially accurate in our opinion, meaning that, again, we don't audit every single transaction. We audit to a level of materiality. talks about the fact that there are estimates built into these financial statements, meaning, you know, you may buy a smart board and set it up and depreciate it over 5 years. It may last you 10 years, but so there are certain estimates that are built in to the financial statements. Talks about the fact that if we had any disagreements with managements or findings associated with the report, those would also be included here. Also includes the journal entries that we proposed as a part of the audit process, and then finally it includes as an appendix the correspondence back and forth between our firm and the district during the course of the audit. So an engagement letter, a representation letter, all that kind of falls at the back of the report. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Andrew and the team at the DO, along with the folks at the respective schools. We got back in here, kicked the tires, got around, and we were happy with the results of the audit. We were able to get things timely, we were get things accurately, and didn't really have any problems getting through the audit process. But make no mistake, we're not a firm that rubber stamps this thing. We come in and we kick around and we get our feet wet, so to speak. So you can be assured that you've got a good comprehensive audit process and a good team in place. Can I answer anything? Dr. Green, you normally have something for me. Come on.
That's pretty good. Things have been good here. Let's keep it up.
The last thing I will say is that, and it mentions this in that board report, that if you guys ever have any questions or concerns, our contact information is on the face of this. You are always welcome and encouraged to reach out to your external auditors. Jonathan's contact information is not on there. Luke is the manager or senior manager who conducted the bulk of the audit, but his wife is also expecting, and any day now. So we decided to bring Jonathan, let him get a little experience, but you'll see his face again. I can promise you that. Thank you.
All right, so for the monthly financial update, I'll probably sound similar to some of what Josh was saying. Our revenue's about $2.9 million as of November 30th. Our expenditures are about $5.4 million. If you look at the trend analysis of where we were the last 5 years, both of those numbers fall right in line where we typically are. There's really been nothing unusual out of the ordinary to this point. If you look through some of the expenditures, we've provided some of the detail. I've added the percent remaining column as we get further in the year. It's a good way of tracking where we are budget-wise. And pretty much everything in total is right around 65% remaining to be spent, which, 5 months into the years is about right where you want to be. So from a financial standpoint, there's really been nothing unusual or out of the ordinary. Any questions on the finances? All right, and then moving on to capital projects, I'm sure you guys have all driven down Johnston. That building, a large portion of it's been demolished. Some of that condemned portion is coming down. We had a meeting today about it. They're sort of not moving as quickly taking that down as they could because we're still waiting on a land disturbance permit, and some of that foundation can't be taken up until we get that permit. So we should have that permit in the next week or so. So then once we get that building's going to come down a lot faster. The building 300, the technology classrooms on the wing there, they have all the metal studs up. They're pretty much all the way roughed in.
Are we still on track?
Yeah, we're actually a little ahead of schedule because we were able to, unfortunately, our football team lost in the first round of the playoffs, but the flip side of that is we were able to vacate the building ahead of schedule. The asbestos abatement was actually not as intensive as they anticipated, so that went quicker. So we're actually a little ahead of schedule at this point. So buildings 200 and 300, the two standalone buildings, they're going to be about, after January, about 75% complete. And then they'll just finish dressing there. They've really had no issues at all to this point. Some other projects going on. I'm keeping David and his guys busy over the break. We've got cabinets to be put up in classrooms here at the primary school. Kindergartens will get new floors over the break. Charlene's getting a swing set put up over the break as well. Our batting cages over at the high school are nearly finished, and starting tomorrow, actually, we'll have some surveyors out at the high school to start looking at expanding that front parking lot right out there. So a lot going on there. So any questions on projects? Thanks, guys.
Anderson, you up with policies.
All right, so at our last meeting, I brought you several policies as second reading: JFABD, admission of homeless students; JFABH, military temporary remote school enrollment; JICFB, Gavin's Law, sexual extortion for students; and GBEBE, Gavin's Law, sexual extortion for staff. I only received one comment, and that was from Mr. Jackson in open session last time. He wanted the law part of the packet to reflect a change with his and her added to that. I did do that. That is located on page 85 of your packet, your current packet. All right, and so I didn't receive any other questions from anyone else. I'm gonna pause a minute to see if you have any other questions regarding those particular policies. And if there are none, I would seek a motion to have those policies, a nomination to pass those policies.
You guys, you have those in front of you. We'll go ahead and approve all of those at the same time. If I can get a motion and a second to approve those policies. JFABD, policy JFABH, policy JICFB, and policy GBEBE.
Motion to approve.
So motion, is there a second?
I second.
There's a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank
Okay,
you.
those pass.
All right, we will move into the last set of policies from the South Carolina Legislative Update. I have before you tonight, there are 3 tobacco-free policies that are here. One is the tobacco-free school district, which starts on page 92, tobacco-free workplace on page 98, and tobacco use by students on page 104 of your packet. The primary emphasis of all 3 of these policies was to add electronic devices to the existing policies, to include vaping that was not part of the old policies, and that shouldn't be a great surprise to anyone with all the vaping that districts have been incurring. Another addition to GBED is the addition of student consequences for enforcing the policies, and the addition of visitors and volunteers and members of the public section. Those differences are highlighted in pink in your particular policies. Then policy JICJ, there are some differences there too, to include staff and other workers. And then the bottom section, visitors, volunteers, and members of the public. So it's just kind of, the policy is written to kind of really define the groups that you're looking at and what the expectation is for the groups. So basically what it means is no tobacco products by anybody, anyone, anywhere, any group of people on any of our campuses in any way or at any of our events. And that includes electronic devices too. Okay? Further questions about that one? All right, JLIG is sun safety, and that's really a really different policy. I encourage you, if you would, to, I'm not going to read it to you, but I'd like for you to refer to the law at the back, which is on page 108, I believe, of your board packet. Actually, 109, and it talks about a current law being amended to prevent public schools or charter schools from prohibiting the possession or personal use of sunscreen in schools at school events. So that's what the law was about. And it resulted in students being allowed to use over-the-counter topical non-aerosol products defined as sunscreen at school and in school events. So while I know this may be a little different for you, this is one of the policies that was in the South Carolina legislative update. So I bring it to you for first reading along with the tobacco-free products or the tobacco-free policies. And next board meeting, I will bring them back to you for second reading. And if there are no further questions, that concludes the policy section.
Any questions? Thank you, ma'am. You can move right on into personnel.
Yes, sir. I don't have any new hires at this time. We're working on a food service person, but we've not finalized that yet for me to announce that person. Tomorrow, letters of intent will go out to all of our employees. For those of you that are not school employees per se and not familiar with this process, we send out a survey basically to our staff. It's called a letter of intent, and they can check on that if they intend to retire, or if they would like a transfer, or they intend to resign. Now, it does not bind them like a contract does when we issue contracts in April, but it does give us an overall tool to use going into the budget season to see how much money we're going to need based on changes. We also we have our principals encourage their staff members, particularly their certified members, to be as upfront and honest with us as possible, because the sooner we know that they're not going to come back, the better chance we stand of finding somebody appropriate for that position that helps with our children. So each year before these go out, principals are encouraged to kind of give their staff that spiel. We appreciate you thinking of your students and of our district more than you think of yourselves by letting us know the truth if you can. And so we actually netted a lot of those comments last year, and we were able to go ahead and recruit some good people. So when these come back on January the 9th, you may actually start to see some positions go up for the new year, okay? So when you see it, we're not adding people. We may be in the process of trying to fill some people early. Other schools have already had career fairs. Lander, I've been to Anderson University, I've been to Lander, and I go to Newberry next month. So we have people that are out there that have stopped by my booth and have talked to me and have provided me with resumes and all different content areas. You know, they're interested in our district, but right now, until we have yay or nay, we don't really have a way to know what positions we've got. So that's the purpose of this little exercise that we're doing beginning tomorrow. Any questions about that and how that works? Okay. And just back to the policies for one last time. At the meeting next month, this will conclude all of the policies from the South Carolina legislative update. We've been through the whole entire thing, but we always traditionally go back to the code of conduct with the principals every year, because by law we have to update it and reevaluate it. So I know I'll be bringing that back to you for approval at some point. But that also opens the door for any other policies that you, the public, or the administrative team would like to have us review. So that gives us a good 3 months for any other random things that you want to take a look at. All right, and that's all I have at this time, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other business before the board? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Yeah, enjoy your break. Yeah, that's exactly right. So if none said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. There's a motion. Second, all in favor? Yeah, they quick. Thank y'all.